Listen to the sound as it fades away, until the very end. These children have been learning to be mindful. They learn the art to sit mindfully and to settle their minds into the silence calmly. They are learning to watch churning thoughts and ideas and how these settle into a calming, still silence. Like the glitter that settles to the bottom in the magic mind jar. They learn to walk mindfully, slowly and silently, and play games while being mindful. These are the children from the Sati Pasala Mindful Classroom.
A silent revolution is happening in Sri Lankan schools, helping students to cope with routine stresses and strain. Young children are being exposed to a practice that's captured everyone's imagination globally. That's mindfulness. Children as young as 6 to 8 years are becoming aware when walking, sitting, and playing. Mindfulness is teaching them to be in the present moment, here and now.
Walking meditation is you have to search a nice place to walk, not the place that you get squished and stuff. Then you can keep your hands like in the side or in the back. And then you don't need to close your eyes. Then you start say left, right, left, right. And then if you can feel something like sand or ant biting you, you can write that.
Since early 2016, it was a path-breaking initiative when Sati Pasala began as a simple grassroots program. Its architect is Venerable Udairagama Dhammajiva Mahathero, a Theravada bhikkhu with about 30 years seniority. Following a chance encounter with mindfulness as a young undergraduate in the University of Peradeniya, doors were opened to a brand new world. Later, as a bhikkhu, Venerable Dhammajiva personally experienced the benefits of mindfulness for nearly 4 decades. This discovery spurred him to embark upon the most challenging project: to introduce mindfulness to young Sri Lankan children. Mindfulness is nothing new to Sri Lanka. Being a predominantly Buddhist country, mindfulness or sati has been practiced in the nation's numerous monasteries, temples and hermitages since the 3rd century BC. The much respected Satipatthana Sutta from the Pali Canon is revered amongst Buddhists for its exposition on mindfulness in depth. Venerable Dhammajiva's mission was indeed an ambitious one. Having taken the journey of mindfulness as a traditional Buddhist, he deviated from convention and decided to share mindfulness in a non-religious, non-sectarian manner. Drawing from his own experiences, he firmly believed that mindfulness could be the answer to the burgeoning challenges of adolescence and youth, if used as a preventive tool. He was also acutely aware that in recent times, the value of mindfulness had been placed in the spotlight in the Western world, although in a totally different dimension. Modern neuroscience and medical intervention recognize mindfulness as a mainstream therapy, raising this ancient practice to an unprecedented level of relevance and popularity. That mindfulness leads to structural brain changes, that it improves resilience, develops positive mind states like compassion, and helps to manage emotions in a healthy manner is now a common understanding. Indeed, these neuroscientific discoveries paved the way for mindfulness to become a much sought-after non-pharmacological intervention for common conditions. This backdrop too played a role in the Sati Pasala story, which began with just a handful of schools from the Dompe Education Division situated in the Gampaha district of the Western Province. Initially, mindfulness was introduced to batches of children in a very simple manner, using instructional essays written in all 3 languages we use in this country. The aim was to introduce mindfulness to students and teachers and principals and entire school communities. The vision of Sati Pasala is to practice bare attention or simple mindfulness as a preventive tool rather than as a therapeutic intervention. Venerable Dhammajiva constantly relates the variety of instances where mindfulness helped him as a layman and continues to offer exceptional support and insight as a senior bhikkhu and abbot of a respected and dynamic forest monastery.
A mindful child is like a blooming flower whose fragrance spreads far and wide. When mindfulness gathers momentum in a child's life, it begins to make the mind expansive and boundless. And it connects with all the other children one by one, as though flowers are being strung together one by one until a beautiful chain of flowers is formed. When teachers and the entire school community learn mindfulness, it opens brand new stars for a wonderful journey of education. The Sati Pasala journey in Sri Lanka has grown in a limitless fashion during the period of 23 months, taking me and all of us by surprise. It is our bounden duty to share this practice of mindfulness with everyone in schools and universities and in as many other sectors as possible in Sri Lanka and worldwide.
Introducing mindfulness to schools commenced very gradually with a few pilot programs. Its inclusive, non-sectarian and non-religious approach enabled students of the large group of Sri Lankan schools which are multi-ethnic and multi-religious to join. Few preliminary evaluations designed to assess the receptivity of Sati Pasala among students and teachers showed encouraging results.
I sit properly in a mindful way. After that, I think that I'm here. After I start meditating, I feel my stomach going up and down and my nose, the breath inhaling and exhaling. And after that, when I'm meditating, sometimes my mind goes away by bird noises, trees rustling, animals shouting, and other kind of noises. After that, sometimes I feel my legs, my joints paining. After that, my mind goes away for that also. But again, I think I'm here and I finish my meditation.
Mindfulness is about being now, not the things that you did yesterday, not the things that you do tomorrow. Just focus, like when you are doing your homework, if you get a mistake, you have to do it again, and if you do another mistake, you have to be mindful and do the other work you have. It's easy when you are being mindful. When you are playing, you can be mindful. You just have to think now. Like you're playing with your friends, you have to try to focus not to get catched. Like that. So even when you're studying, you can do that.
A team of volunteers who had practiced mindfulness for many years conducted simple mindfulness exercises with teachers and students. They experienced composure and well-being during and immediately after the programs. They also felt less irritated, coped better with peers and family members, and during school events. The evolution of Sati Pasala marked a significant milestone in late 2016, when the Ministry of Education endorsed Sati Pasala as a national initiative. Since early 2017, teachers and principals of all national schools have joined mindfulness teacher-educator programs in batches in different locations in Sri Lanka. School authorities, both government and private, showed a high degree of receptivity for mindfulness. They explained that it would offer remedies for aggression and violence, and that it would contribute towards improved focus and better academic performance.
I am Kalani Suryaperuma, Deputy Principal of Visakha Vidyalaya. We introduced Sati Pasala to the school in 2016 to grade 9 students, after which we introduced it to the whole school. We have also trained our teachers. Some of the key benefits we gained from this program: it developed their personalities. Students are less reactive, less emotional. It has changed their overall discipline in a positive way. We have also noticed they concentrate better in the classroom.
Teachers also feel that mindfulness expansion across sectors such as guiding, Little Friends, Scouting and Sunday schools will pave the way for kindness, compassion and pleasant relations among students of all ages. Another significant milestone was chalked in June 2017 when Sati Pasala was registered as a foundation, thus assuming a formal and legal status.
Sati Pasala Foundation was registered as a non-profit organization in June 2017. It is managed by a team of dedicated volunteers, all of whom are mindfulness practitioners. The foundation's vision is to share mindfulness with students, teachers, school communities and other groups in a non-sectarian, non-religious and a political manner.
During the past year, great strides were made in introducing mindfulness to provincial education authorities. Traveling to all 9 provinces in the country, Sati Pasala team members conducted mindfulness workshops for zonal and provincial education officials. They also held a 2-day residential mindfulness convention at Mipe, and the National Institute of Education staff had a half-day workshop on mindfulness in January. In March, we will introduce mindfulness to all divisional education officials, who will in turn introduce it to school principals and teachers in each education division. The Sati Pasala initiative is based on the understanding that mindfulness helps to transcend prejudices and manage negative mind states, contributing towards healing and preventing wounds in the mind. Indeed, this could pave the way for sustainable harmony between diverse communities and those with a history of conflict.
On Sati Pasala, as we all say, and Dhyanam, Yoham, that we Hindus say, where we sit still in the present, not thinking of the past, neither looking towards the future, but sitting quietly in a thoughtless state. After all, what is the mind? The mind is the flow of thoughts, and that we were able to control.
a multi-religious, multi-ethnic group of religious leaders are functioning as a non-partisan, apolitical body supporting the mindfulness initiative in schools and universities. Moves are underway to use mindfulness to prevent destructive habits and harmful addictions, particularly amongst children, as well as to address violence and abuse targeting children. Discussion with government leaders are ongoing to include these important components into the agenda of Sati Pasala. Soon, mindfulness will be introduced to parliamentarians. And moving forward steadily, with school communities and others joining in with great enthusiasm, Sati Pasala is set to transcend boundaries, nationally and internationally in the future.